Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, inflation numbers are out. Worst inflation in 40 years. CPI is now above 7%, but it came in better than expected. However, what should you do? You should buy Bitcoin. So I'm going to talk about Bitcoin and entire market going up today and why everyone is looking to get back in. So thanks for tuning in. As always, smash the like, subscribe to the channel. 2 streams almost every day, 11:30 and 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure you hit that notification bell and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and check out all the latest news, article, and guides at CryptosRUs.com. Welcome. I could see today is a good day. Lively crowd in the live chat. And take a look. Bitcoin is above 43,000. It broke above 44,000 earlier today. And it does look like it wants to head back up. And things are looking very positive once again. I've been telling you guys to hold strong. That Wall Street and hedge funds, they overreacted. And now it looks like they want to get back in. But those of us that stayed in the game, continue to DCA, well, we're better off for it, right? So you could see 43.8. And of course, if you look at that in the entire market, literally everything is in green. Every single thing besides stable coins, and unfortunately Chainlink is in the red. Every single crypto is in the green today, so that is very, very positive. But what caused this? Well, let's talk about inflation numbers, CPI numbers just released today. This is the number that everyone was looking at or speculating on, and it came out in line with expectations. We are now above 7% in the United States, and it's the worst inflation rate since the 1980s. Yes, since the 1980s. So this is the worst rate in 40 years, and this is what it looks like. And in the 80s, we were actually much worse. It got up to 14%. Maybe in 2022, as inflation keeps rising up, maybe it's going to get close, but with Powell and his new policies, that will be announced next week, I believe, or 2 weeks. I won't get to that in a little bit. Maybe we're not going to get as high. But you could see clearly how, yes, we have jumped up. And if you take a look at this, now some of this is due to inflation. Some of it is due to supply constraints, supply chain issues. But you could see motor fuel up 50%, and this is just within a very short amount of time. Fuel up 41%, used cars up 37%, gas service 24%, beef and veal up 19%, furniture up 17%, bacon and breakfast sausage up 16%, eggs up 11%. Women's dress is up 8%. So obviously, CPI doesn't measure everything. It doesn't measure real estate, doesn't measure Bitcoin, obviously, and investments, but it measures a whole bunch of stuff. And there are some things that have inflated quite a lot within a very, very, very short amount of time. Okay, so that is what's happening right now. Okay, inflation, we know it's a thing. And it's no longer something we can ignore, because if you do ignore it and you're just sitting on a whole bunch of cash, it's going to be devalued at a ever increasing rate. Right now, it's being devalued at over 7%. Next month, it may be in the 8%. Next month, it could be in the 9%. I mean, it's going to keep going. And that's why you need to put your money into a hedge against inflation, something that will appreciate faster than the USD. Otherwise, then, you're still stuck in the same spot. So that's Bitcoin. Take a look at this. This is $1 and how much sats you could buy with $1. 1 year ago, you could have bought 2,900 sats. But today, you can only buy 2,200. So that's a difference of 22%. That's just from a year ago. 2 years ago, you could have bought 12,000 sats with $1. 81% change. And then after 5 years, it becomes 98%, 99%, right? This is, you can look at it two ways. How much the USD is inflating and devaluing itself against Bitcoin, or how strong Bitcoin is versus the dollar. So you choose. And it could be a combination of both, right? But this is why sitting on large piles of cash, or just sitting on cash in general and not investing, why it's dangerous, because your money buying power actually decreases, even though the dollar amount may stay the same, but what you could buy with it is decreasing every single year. And especially with all the money that's been printed in the last few years, it's much more noticeable within such a short amount of time, right? Just look at the list I just showed you guys. So this is what's happening right now, right? And this is the reason why I made the case that hedge funds and Wall Street overreacted. They know that tapering is going to start, rate hikes is going to start, and they're selling off tech and Bitcoin, and they're buying into bonds, okay? Like the 10-year treasury bond, which actually dipped after this morning. They're buying into this and trying to make their 1.8% over 10 years. It doesn't make any sense. This does not hedge against inflation, not one bit. You know what else doesn't make any sense? Buying gold. Even with today's numbers and inflation going up, gold went up astronomical 0.3% today, okay? And it's still lower than the same point it was 11 years ago. So obviously buying gold no longer works as a hedge against inflation. So what else can you buy? You can't buy bonds, you can't buy gold, right? What else can you buy? Well, Bitcoin, yes, that's what you can buy. Bitcoin outperformed every single asset class in 2021 and will probably do so in 2022. Nothing comes close. Nothing comes close at all, right? So now you're going to probably see more money come back in, because all these guys that overreacted and panic sold they're going to realize I made a mistake. Our performance was already horrendous in 2021. We can't make it worse in 2022. Right? We need to get back in. And what better way than Bitcoin? So there you go. So this is what happened today, why I believe things started coming back up, why it can continue to go back up. But there is one big thing that's coming in about 2 weeks. So that's the FOMC committee meeting. And that is set to take place on the 25th, so that is roughly 2 weeks from now, a little bit less than 2 weeks. And this is where Fed Chairman Powell and others are going to go into a meeting and talk about exactly what they're going to do. I was mistaken yesterday. I thought it was going to start this week, but it's not. It's going to start in a couple weeks. And, everything that they said in December, right, about what they may do, and then they released the minutes, and then people overreacted, right? So what they plan on actually doing will be determined in January, unless they think it's just too early to make any decisions and wait until March, right? So that's the big thing that will be coming in a couple weeks. So we'll see what happens between then and now, which probably isn't a whole lot, other than Bitcoin in the market maybe continuing to rally and getting back to previous levels. So there you go. Now, in addition, there's a couple other things I want to share with you guys. Number one is, actually I didn't want to share that yet. The outflow of Bitcoin is the largest since September 2021. So take a look at this. We had a massive outflow of Bitcoin that just occurred. This is the biggest since September, but you could overall you could see there's a lot more outflows than inflows. Okay, well, net flows, and in the red meaning there's a lot more outflows, and you could see that a tremendous amount just came out. Why is this? Again, because people want to buy low. People want to buy when others are fearful. And this is what I've been telling you guys, been preaching all along, right? When things are down, when things are scary, when there's blood in the streets, that's when you take advantage and you pounce on it, right? You pounce on the market and you're essentially stealing the wealth from other people that are panic selling. And that is what's going on right now. So you got a whole bunch of whales or institutions or companies that are pouncing on Bitcoin while it's low. Maybe especially after the inflation numbers came out, right? CPI numbers. But more and more and more and more Bitcoin is being taken out of exchanges each and every single day, right? So you don't want to let all of it go to these guys. You want to keep some for yourself and take advantage when things are low. And not just with Bitcoin, but with altcoins and crypto in general, right? The ones I've been talking about. But this is very, very, very significant. Very significant indeed. Now, a couple other things. This is actually interesting. Someone actually correlated Bitcoin's recent movement with forecasting of CPI numbers. So whatever the market kind of predicts equal to what came out, well, generally speaking, Bitcoin had a good rally right afterwards. But if it came out worse than expected, Bitcoin goes down. Well, I think this has a lot to do with the yields from bonds. We know this. Whenever bond yields, 10-year bond yields goes up slightly, tech sells off and Bitcoin sells off for no apparent reason because hedge funds just don't know what they're doing. And then whenever things are in line or below, well, then they sell off their bonds and buy back in. So, I mean, that seems pretty normal now. Okay, so basically this is correlating that. And since we came right equal to the number, well, then you can make an argument that we are ready to rally, just like all the other times before where there was equal to forecast and we just started rallying up. So kind of interesting correlation there. Just want to show you guys that. Also, this is looking at holding to spent profit. So basically, when you have a whole bunch of people selling off at a loss, and that usually means when retail investors are panicking, right? Whenever you have that, generally speaking, that's when the market has hit a low, and we're at the opposite of that right now. Basically, there's not a whole lot of selling. There's a whole lot of buying, and we are getting to that point where it's a reversal. You can see these V shapes, right? So we're a V coming back up, and again, could indicate a good rally that's right around the corner. So there you go. A lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff. And finally, in terms of altcoins, you guys saw this. A whole bunch of green everywhere, right? But there are standouts. The L1s, the ones with DeFi, right? They are blowing up today, recovering very nicely. And it's really no surprise. So if you take a look at this, in terms of total value locked, the projects that have the most total value locked are the ones that are going up the most. It's that simple. It's not rocket science. Basically, the chains with the most projects that people are using are going up the fastest. It's really that simple. So that's why I like these big L1s. And I cannot lie. Ethereum, Terra, Binance Smart Chain, Avalanche, Solana, Phantom, Polygon, these top 7 especially, right? These have done really, really well, and they're coming up in a big way. Today, big news about Phantom. I'll get to that in a little bit, but it's up significantly. And what's interesting about Phantom is Phantom actually has a much bigger TVL at this point than even Polygon. And something that I've been waiting for the market to kind of correlate, and right now we're still very off from it, is market cap to TVL and this ratio. And you could see, if you look at this ratio, Phantom actually has the lowest ratio, 1.1, versus someone like Solana at a 4.7, which is actually, if you look at the ratio of the top 7, that's the worst. Ethereum is about 2.6 in terms of market cap to TVL, right? Terra is the second most undervalued if you look at 1.5. And then Binance Smart Chain, actually I apologize, Binance Smart Chain is even higher than Solana. So they're the most I guess, overrated, I guess, in terms of this ratio. And then you have Avalanche, which is 2, which is pretty low. Then you have Solana, 4.7, is pretty high. But Phantom at 1.1 is actually looking like it's really, really undervalued right now. So just to throw that out there. But to add on to that, Binance Loans adds on Phantom and Near. So if you are using Phantom, you can use that and deposit for rewards and borrow against your crypto, in this case Phantom and Near. So I think this is the reason why it pumped up quite a bit today. Yeah, and that's it. Overall, I mean, these chains, the top 7 are ones I really, 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 really love. They have a lot of potential. But outside, there's some others like Harmony that's sitting at number 14, right? I like them, and I think Elron has potential. There's several others in here that definitely has potential. So, yeah, pay attention. Pay attention to chains with a lot of dApps. And right now, most of the dApps are all about DeFi and total value locked. All right, that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to share. Overall, today is a CPI day, inflation day, and it was in line with what people thought. But overall, if you think about it, you put 2 and 2 together, what can people buy to hedge against inflation right now? Literally nothing. The only thing is Bitcoin. So that's why we need to continue holding, continue buying when we can, and watch everyone else panic while we sit on our stash of sats. All right, and lastly, I just want to give you guys an update. I mentioned about Harmony. You guys know that I started staking on DeFi Kingdoms, and today Jewel, which is what you're minting, has gone up quite a bit. But give you guys an update. This is pretty crazy returns. So I've been mining in this liquidity pool on DeFi Gardens with Jewel versus UST. Not versus, but Jewel/UST. And it's only been about four and a half days, not even a full 5 days. And total rewards is at $4,400. So averaging about $900 to $950 a day right now, just so you guys know. In terms of total unlocked, this is what I could take out right away if I wanted to. This is locked until July, and then there's going to be like a vesting schedule afterwards. But overall, this is pretty insane rewards, right? Or yield. This is why DeFi is so fascinating. So there you go, to give you guys an update. All right, that's it. Now let's do some Q&A. All right, scrolling up. 2 words, quantum computing. So many people, get hung up on the fact that, oh, maybe one day quantum computers will break, keys, right? Break all cryptography, and then you'll lose your Bitcoins. Well, guess what? If that day comes, there's much worse things that they can do with those quantum computers. They could literally crash any network. They could literally steal any funds from any banks or the stock exchanges themselves or from asset managers. So there's much worse things that you should be worried about than quantum computers stealing your crypto. Okay, so that's how I respond to that. Quantum computers are nowhere near that advanced yet, and who's to say that when we do have them that advanced, that we won't have counter quantum computing that will protect you from those brute force attacks, right? So I'm not worried about quantum computing at this time. Let's see here. FOMC equals fear of missing CryptosRUs. That's a good one. I should put that on a t-shirt. Let's see here. What's your opinion on Polkadot? Well, Moonbeam, is it Moonbeam? Just went live. And Polkadot itself is still onboarding, you know, other parachains. So they're getting closer to completion. And overall, once they're done, it should be a very robust ecosystem of chains that have the ability to talk to each other freely and talk to the main hub. And the theory is they're going to do some great things, right? So I think overall, long term, they're going to be fine. Led by a really good leader, Gavin Wood. But I think out of all the co-founders of Ethereum, the one that gets the most recognition, of course, is still Charles. Let's see here. Is ADA still around? Yes. You may have noticed that Cardano doesn't have any TVL right now. And that's because they don't. There's no DEXs that truly work, right? But here's the good news. Here's the good news. Sunday Swap is supposed to be releasing their mainnet DEX. And they released this a couple days ago saying that they will be ready to announce something. So that should be right around the corner. So once that gets released, then people could actually put money into those pools and provide liquidity. And then finally, you'll start seeing some TVL. And how that's going to be fantastic for Cardano is this. 70+% of ADA is already staked into pools, powering the network. Now the remaining 30% could be locked up in TVL. The remaining 30% will contribute to TVL by being locked into liquidity pools. So then you're really just, taking the supply and decreasing it by an exponential amount. So it could be a game changer for Cardano. This is why I've been saying, wait until Sunday Swap is out. If it's fully operational and it works, then many others will follow it, and it's going to be a good thing for Cardano. So. Curtis, thank you. Double strapped on. DJ, I don't know how that works, how you could double strap on, but I'll take your word for it. On the topic of DeFi and passive income, Drip Network. That sounds familiar, but I don't remember them. Market cap unknown. They have been doing well last 90 days. Okay. They're on Binance Smart Chain. Value of being scarce, deflationary, built on... it looks like they're one of those deflationary coins. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't really know. I don't really get it. I'm just going to say no to this because I really don't get it. Lighten says, VVS on CRO. Be careful, guys. I did a CRO supercharger for ETH for 45 days. My return was 2 cents, 2 pounds. The APY is supposed to be 38%. Well, you got to realize APY of 38% is over 365 days. So if you're doing 45 days, yeah, it's not going to be a lot. I think you're getting confused. So, and also depends on how much you put in. I don't know how much you put in, but if it's 365, if it's supposed to be 38% divided by 365, you're making 0.1% per day. If you times it by 45 days, you are only supposed to make 4.68%. So depending on how much you put, maybe that's how much you got. So I don't know. Storm detector, appreciate that. They pushed back discovery date a month for XRP lawsuit. I'm telling you guys, that probably will not get resolved. XRP lawsuit is probably not going to get resolved until Q3 or Q4 this year. If If that, it could even carry into 2023. I've said this at the very beginning. XRP lawsuit is going to take about 2 to 3 years. People laughed at me like, no way it's going to take 2 to 3 years. Just look at all the other projects they sued. It took about 2 to 3 years. And XRP one or Ripple one is even more complicated because they're going after the leaders, Chris Larson and Brad Garlinghouse, not just the project. They're actually attacking the leaders too. So I think at the very least, it's going to last into Q3 or most likely Q4 or Q1 of next year. All right, let's see here. Avalanche is being added to Celsius tomorrow. Solana possibly next week. Well, that is good. I am going to be partnering up with a new project that will be offering rewards on basically every single coin. And it's going to be pretty good, but not ready to announce it yet. Elrond just acquired Utrust yesterday. Ooh, I don't know if that's a good purchase. I never liked Utrust. It makes no sense to me. Utrust is trying to be like PayPal, decentralized PayPal. People hate PayPal. They want to use crypto so that they don't have to worry about arbitration and a third party determining whether you get your funds or not. So I don't know if that's a good Bogdan. I don't know if that's a good purchase or not, but Moonbeam dumped. Then I know it went live yesterday, but oh wow. I don't know what happened there. I don't know why it would be down 36% today. I have to do more research into that, but man. Maybe there was an unlock or something and people just like dumped it. Lee James says, when you're staking, do you get your coins back in the same quantity? In liquidity pools, no. When you stake, it tells you the percentage of the pool, right? And you're getting rewarded based on that percentage. However, if one of the two coins of that pair goes up or down significantly, there could be a rebalance. So by the time you withdraw, you don't get the same coins back because the percentage have changed. Or if a lot more people deposit or a lot of people withdraw, look up, what's that word? Impermanent. That's what. Impermanent loss. Look at that. Okay. But normal, you don't have to worry about that because the coins that you deposit have to move tremendously, 2-3x, for you to actually take a loss on that. But then again, in the meantime, you're still making, fees, or you're making part of the fees that is conducted with that liquidity pool. So and you're getting the yields. So most likely you're not going to be in loss. But look at that. Impermanent loss. That's what it's called. Why do I hate Litecoin? I don't hate it. Well, I do and I don't. Litecoin itself is fine, but it's not better than Bitcoin. So why would you hold on to it? It doesn't move faster than Bitcoin. It doesn't appreciate as fast as Bitcoin. So, and then Charlie has done some suspicious things in the past. Promising Mimblewimble, promising it to be done years ago, is still not. And the fact that he just dumped on everyone's heads, in 2017, didn't sit well. And for the longest time, there was no activity on Litecoin. And he claimed there was, but there wasn't. So I'm just not a fan overall. Julio, I will do so. TC Van, George is the make sense king. His analysis always makes sense to me. See, that's what I try to do. I try to, look at the bigger picture. I know everyone in the space is more focused on news, on TA, but I try to look at everything and give you guys a broader perspective and how I view the market and why I remain bullish, right? I don't just remain bullish for no reason. But I put it all together, and I just feel like, this run is not over. Bitcoin is still so early. And DeFi, Web 3.0, I mean, it's only getting started. Thoughts on Hathor's unlimited gas fees? They are younger Cadena if you haven't seen. I have looked at them before. I don't know the details, Jonathan, so I can't really tell you that. And when you say unlimited gas fees, I don't even, you mean like no gas fees, right? Not unlimited gas fees. That would be horrible. But I can't tell you much about Hathor. Can Harmony 1 pull Matic or reach $2 to $3? It definitely can. DeFi Kingdoms obviously is making a big impact, but they just need a few more. Their TVL is growing, but not as big as some of the other guys. They need to have more DEXs to really lock into liquidity and cause people not to sell one, right? So right now they have about 1.1 billion, but if they can up that like 4 or 5 times to a 5 or 6 billion, then yeah, they could definitely go up in a big way, right? The reason why any of these chains go up right now is because of TVL. I mean, honestly, that's my opinion. TVL causes, besides staking, you know, the token or the coins into powering the network, TVL is taking the remaining amount and removing that from circulation. Basically, it's causing people to not sell, right? So that's what you want. So Harmony needs a little bit more TVL, but they'll get there. They'll get there. When ETH moves to proof of stake, I think a lot of hash rate will move to Flux to help build infrastructure. I mean, it could. I think the obvious choice for miners, Ethereum miners that are still proof of work, they will probably go to, they could go to Flux, but they could go to Ethereum Classic. But Ethereum Classic is, it's kind of like, you know, a dead chain. I don't even know where it is. It's at 43 now. And they get 51% attack left and right. So, yeah, there's not that many options. They're either probably Ethereum Classic, or you could go to, oh, what's the other one? I used to get asked about it all the time. Oh, man, they really dropped off. Page 2, let's see. Man, it was another project that used to be very, very popular. It had 5 different hashing, and I don't know where it went. Maybe they died. Oh, Digibyte. Yeah, Digibyte. Man, they really dropped off. Wow. They used to be, you know, top 100. But yeah, Digibyte is another candidate. So, I mean, I don't know where the miners will go. Maybe they'll just sell all their GPUs. Crypto.com is licensed by VFAA, and only 7 of those licenses are issued worldwide. The same license is ID Everest. Could we call him a sleeping giant? You mean call Crypto.com a sleeping giant? They're not sleeping. They're like in the top 30. Right? Not even top 30, top 20. Yeah, so they're not a sleeping giant. They're a big cap already. Anything above 10 billion is big cap. But do I think they'll do well going forward? Yes. Yes. I do think so. Did some digging. 100% legit. Team is DDocs. Check out Midas Investment. They provide APY. Very nice returns. Okay, well, thanks for sharing. Let's see. Harmony 1's killing it. Just broke last resistance. Is it too late to buy Phantom Cosmos Near? No, it's not too late. In fact, I mean, seeing how Bitcoin is only at, you know, under 44,000, most of these are still off from their all-time high. I gotta pull it up in CoinGecko, but if you look at it, they're all pretty much off. Near is pretty close. Near has been doing really well. But I know Cosmos is not anywhere near its all-time high. Phantom isn't either. So there's plenty of room to grow with a lot of these L1s. Adrian, I'm not a fan of Akash Network. There's too many decentralized cloud computing plays out there, and they really need to prove themselves. So right now, I think it's just very early for them. What's the difference between APR and APY? That's a good question. I had to look that up just to be sure. APR is basically the rate you're getting at this moment, not including compounding. APY includes a rate, but it compounds and estimates what you'll get by the end of the year. So that is why some projects, they'll have a crazy APY because they're taking your rewards and putting it back in and calculating the rate you'll get compounded by the end of the year, where APR doesn't do that. So, I mean, to give you guys an example, like right now with this liquidity pool, the APR is at 446%. But if you actually calculate the APY, if I put in, let's say, the rewards, and I keep putting it in, and I keep putting in, right? Right now I haven't, but let's just say I did, and I just kept putting it in, this APY per year would probably be at like 10,000%. But it's not because, it's not being compounded right now. So that's the difference in APR and APY. So that's why some projects will have a crazy APY because they're basically taking every single thing that you earn, putting it back in, and it compounds the interest because every single time you get interest, it'll be a little bit higher, a little bit higher, a little bit higher, right? So yeah, that's the difference. Let's see. Z token up 33%. I have no idea what this token is. What's the market cap? Unknown. They pumped quite a lot in November. Now they're starting to come back. What is this? They're launching in Z61. I don't know what that means. There's a whole bunch of... Okay, so this is Uniswap. I mean, I don't know what these are. I mean, from a marketing perspective, this is probably as bad as it can get. Like someone like me coming, and I'm like, I want to learn about this. And this is like, you don't learn anything. It just makes me want to just close it. So, sorry, Tyler. Why is Tron so low, even if it has decent TVL? You know why? Because no one trusts Tron. Now that Justin's leaving, I think more people will trust them, but they need a really good leader. Tron has been held back by Justin's son for 4+ years. He's made his billions from it. All his marketing shenanigans. Yeah, he bought all these projects. Doesn't know how to deal with them. They're all still separate. So Tron, what's going to fix them is if they get a new leader and one that's really respected and one that really knows what's going on. I think the Tron ecosystem, including BitTorrent, the Sun Network, and anything else that they have, and Tron itself, I think they're all going to start blossoming. But until then, you can't trust anything they do. He's going into politics, by the way. Supposedly, he's going to be like some kind of ambassador. I don't know how you got that job or why. Maybe because maybe he doesn't want to be the next Jack Ma. There was a lot of controversy when he had that lunch with Warren Buffett. Like China, arrested his team members and basically forced them not to go to that lunch. I mean, it was really bad. So I think he's just trying to get out of the spotlight because now he's probably a billionaire from Tron. Anyways, all right, I'll let you guys go. Overall, today's a good day. Today's a good day. You could see the U right here. Bitcoin is coming up. Fear levels are still high, but getting less. And usually when you have high fears, a lot of blood in the streets, that's when you want to pounce and buy, right? And I've been telling you guys. But today we were helped by CPI numbers. wasn't good, wasn't bad. It was in line. But overall, what's bad is inflation. And if you don't want your money to depreciate right in front of your eyes by 7+% right now, what you want to do is put your money into a hedge against inflation. And the best hedge against inflation right now by far is Bitcoin. Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. And those that panic sold early on will have no choice but to panic buy back in. They will. They will. All right. Smash a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Take care. Bye-bye.